Hello and welcome to Mythical Meeples. Today I'll be reviewing the Monk Way of the Dragon, a monk subclass from Tome of Heroes by Kobold Press. For those of you who don't know, Tome of Heroes is a book for D&D 5th edition of the game, containing over 70 new classes, 20 new races and sub-races, dozen new backgrounds, and over 50 new spells, along with magic items, draconic runes, magical plants, and activities for downtime. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. This all helps me be seen and grow as a channel and means I can produce more content for you. On with the review. So monks that follow the way of the dragon are those monks who have studied at a monastery devoted to dragonkind. Their fighting style matches the dragons they hold in so high regard. The monks that follow this tradition are both feared and respected by other monks, and they travel far and wide, rarely staying still for long. So starting at level 3, you get two features. The first of these is your draconic affiliation, where you choose a type of dragon to emulate, black, red, gold, gaining resistance to the damage type of that dragon. So fire for red, gold and brass, copper and black is acid, and so on. You also gain proficiency in a skill related to the dragon, or double that proficiency bonus if you're already proficient. So for black or copper it's stealth, for red, gold and brass it's intimidation, and so on. Each one has their own skill. Resistance is always good, and the extra proficiency bonus is a nice little boost. Strangely, you don't learn draconic with this monk tradition, but it gives it a slightly different flavour to most dragon-based subclasses and makes it slightly more unique, so I quite like it. The second ability you get at level 3 is Draconic Onslaught. So when you use the Step of the Wind, then hit with an attack, you do an extra 2d6 damage of the type associated with your draconic affiliation. So if you've got resistance fire damage from your draconic affiliation, you'll deal fire damage with your attacks. So this is a good way of dealing damage to one creature, allows you to move more quickly and strike hard against that creature. So it's a good feature, which if you're making use of your Step of the Wind, you probably will use it a lot. The next feature we get is at level 6, and this is Take Flight. So when you take the dash action, you spend 1 key point to gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your turn. While flying, creatures that make opportunity attacks against you take 2d6 damage of the type associated with your draconic affiliation. So this makes you want to get hit by creatures. It's perfect for dancing your way through enemies that have nothing better to do than hit you with their reaction. I love the flavour of this. I picture the monk running through their enemies and fire or lightning, etc., leaping off of them, or them striking out with their hands. It's also a good feature because it doesn't use up your reaction. You just deal damage when those creatures use their reaction instead. The next feature we get is at level 11, called Conquering Worm. So when you attack after using Step of the Wind that turn, you can spend 2 key points to replace your first attack with 1 unarmed strike against each creature within 5 feet of you when you end your movement. The strike deals an extra 4d6 damage of the type associated with your draconic affiliation. It can't be used in the same round as Draconic Onslaught. So this is a strong bit of burst damage. Good for dealing with groups of enemies that are clumped together. On the downside, it only has a small radius, so it may be quite hard to get to work well and could possibly burn through your key quite quickly. In many situations, I can see Flurry of Blows being more useful than this and just hitting more than being able to strike against one group of enemies. However, if you can make this work, then it's really strong. The next feature we get is at level 17, called Scales of the Worm. You spend 4 key points to increase your AC by 2, gain temporary hit points equal to your monk level. and immunity to the frightened condition for 10 minutes. Whilst this is active, you can also use your reaction to reduce the damage of the type associated with your draconic affiliation to 0 from that source. So essentially you make one attack 0 damage against you. So it's a strong defensive buff, which synergizes well with Take Flight, as opportunity attacks will be made against you when you're using Take Flight, but it means you have more health to take those attacks and you're less likely to be hit in the first place. It's a strong ability. It's made better if you come up against creatures dealing damage of the type associated with your draconic affiliation as well. So we're going to compare this now to the monk tradition from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, which is Way of the Ascendant Dragon. So the Way of the Dragon from Tome of Heroes is less versatile in the type of damage you can do. Ascendant dragons can choose each time, whilst the dragon from Tome of Heroes, you choose your affiliation and that's your damage type. On the other hand, you don't gain resistance with the Ascendant Dragon from Fizban's. At level 6, you both gain the ability to fly. Take Flight requires a key point, whereas the Ascendant Dragon from Fizban can do it equal to their proficiency bonus per long rest. So you've got pros and cons there. At low levels, you tend to struggle to have enough key to do things, whereas at high levels, you'll probably find being able to fly often really useful, and also you get to deal damage when you fly with the Way of Dragon from Tome of Heroes. Both subclasses get AoE attacks. The Ascendant Dragon can do a cone or line, whereas the Way of the Dragon from Tome of Heroes gets it at a later level and makes attack rolls against the creatures within 5 feet after using Step of the Wind. So it's a lot harder to get the Way of the Dragon to work, and you get it at later levels. So the one from Ascendant Dragon in Fizban's is much stronger in my opinion in terms of that. At level 17, the Ascendant Dragon from Fizban's gets Blind Sight, and their Breath of the Dragon and Aspect of the Worm abilities get stronger. On the other hand, the Way of the Dragon from Tome of Heroes can spend their 4 key points to increase their defenses. So you're much more defensive, whereas the Way of the Ascendant Dragon is much more aggressive. So overall, the Way of the Dragon feels like they want to make good use of their movement. A lot of their abilities rely on the Step of the Wind or taking the dash action, so you'll be very mobile, which is good because monks want to be mobile. They can run on water at higher levels, they have an increased movement speed, it synergizes very well. On paper, however, I think the Way of Ascendant Dragon from Fizban's seems stronger, simply because it's more versatile, whereas the Way of the Dragon from Tome of Heroes feels a lot more defensive and seems like it could use a lot more key points. Be interesting to see how they compare to each other. Overall, I really like the Way of the Dragon, but as I've mentioned, the Ascendant Dragon, I feel like the Ascendant Dragon is better and more likely to be played, but that's just my opinion and I could be completely wrong. I'd like to play both at some point and get a feel for each one, but it's just dependent on when I can get the chance to play them. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that review. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. This all helps me be seen, helps me grow. If you do like my content as well and you want to support me, then consider becoming a member of Mythical Meeples. There'll be a link below, or you can support me on Patreon as well, and again there'll be a link below. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.